I've had to talk about this a lot, haven't I? Okay, so look, there's some recent patents saying that Apple may be working on the idea of having an Apple Pencil support the iPhone Edition's display. I don't, no, just, this doesn't, stop it. Stop talking about that. There's so many things wrong with that, and it might happen. So I feel like I should comment on it so that I look like a hypocrite later. That's what most of this channel's about. Okay, so basically the only phone keeping around the stylus, the idea of using a stylus with a phone, is the Note 8. And that's really their primary function because the Note 8 is so similar to the S8. You're getting an S8 with an extra camera and a stylus and a tiny bit of an extra RAM. Not the kind with horns though, like the ones in the computer. Oh, anyway, you guys knew that probably. So first off, this rumor can have a little bit of weight to it because of these patents being passed, and because a lot of people are theorizing that the iPhone edition is going to have a 120 hertz refresh rate, similar to the new 10.5-inch iPad and 12.9-inch iPad we saw at the Worldwide Developers Conference, which are great displays, and I think the ProMotion feature is great, but what that new ProMotion display helps with is being able to catch how a stylus interacts with the screen as well as just overall looking better. And of course, there's also rumors that the edition is going to have a True Tone display, all of which are fairly believable, but there's several problems I have with using the Apple Pencil on the iPhone. First of which is transportation. It's already kind of a hassle, and Apple already kind of screwed up when they invented the Apple Pencil because there was not a simple and convenient way to attach this to the iPad when you were going somewhere. You kind of had to stick it in your pocket or get some kind of third-party traveling case. You could try to stick it in those little loops they would have on the side of your iPad Pro cases, but those weren't very sturdy. I used to do that, but the Apple Pencil is way longer than most stylus, so it didn't really fit that well. So only recently at the Worldwide Developers Conference did they announce the Apple Pencil holding case, which is a real basic just kind of leather hole that you just stick it in for $30. But I can understand, you know, if you're taking your iPad somewhere, you've probably got a bag anyway, you've got some kind of sleeve you're taking with you. You put the iPad in that sleeve probably has room for a little Apple Pencil as well. It's a different story with your iPhone though. You see, if we're just comparing size to the iPhone edition and the Apple Pencil, the Pencil first of all is enormous, so if you're carrying this in your pocket, how intuitive is it to also have this sticking in there? And of course, there's no accessory or something they could do to make this easy to transport. The Note 8 has a stylus, which I don't think is useful, no, but at least you can take it with you fairly simply. They designed the Note 8 very carefully to make sure that the S Pen can fit inside it, and at the ease of access, you can pull that S Pen out and start using it. This doesn't work. There's no way these can easily be transported together. Also, Apple's stupid charging method of charging the Apple Pencil would look even more ridiculous if you had to do that on your phone. It's already bad enough with the iPad. We don't need to bring that into something that's supposed to fit in our pockets. My God, why do people think this would be okay? So that's first of all, transportation. Second of all is software and ease of use. Using an Apple Pencil this large, which by the way is still a great stylus. It works really well in the iPad, very fluid, and I've yet to use a stylus that works as well as this one. I love that when you go on the side, it shades, it can understand pressure sensitivity, the battery life lasts a long time, I barely ever charge it. Bring that all over to the iPhone edition and you're extremely limited with this gorgeous, beautiful, fully capable stylus that now you have 5.8 inches to work with. What would be the point there? Back when the iPhone came out, Steve Jobs iconically said the words, "Who wants a stylus?" And that came up a lot when Apple introduced this. But keep in mind, when Steve Jobs said that, the iPad was not a thing yet. And now that the iPad is, I believe that Steve Jobs would be more than okay with the idea of a very capable, powerful stylus if you're drawing on something that's the size of a piece of paper or larger. There's of course other stylus out there that hook up to your computer where you have mountains of options and stylizes you can do, and it's that size of those drawing tablets and it's the size of the iPad that makes this thing fully capable. It's just like drawing on a piece of paper. This is not a common scenario anymore. I don't think we're still in the times where people carried around tiny little paper notebooks like detectives and wrote like, you know, little notes here and there. We have our notebooks still, our iPhones now. It's just there's such an easier way to jog things down. You just write it in notes or you ask Siri to do it. I've still yet to see anyone who could write with a stylus on their phone faster than someone could just type on the basic keyboard. Or of course dictation. So again, no, I don't think that it makes sense to have a stylus on a phone like the Note 8 does, but also that display is incredibly large at 6.3 inches. So at least with that real estate, you have a little bit of room to work with, whereas on the Edition, a lot of this is going to be reserved for the home button, a lot of it for the widgets, so the amount of usable space you're probably gonna have on here, not a terrible amount, and that's not a good experience for drawing. So really the only use in having an Apple Pencil with with an iPhone would be taking notes, but like I said earlier, type them or dictate them. This is like one of the worst ways you could take notes on a screen this small. Now, I guess because they're theoretically adding the ProMotion display to the iPhone, they could just add Apple Pencil support on this just as an extra bonus, as in it's not intended for Apple Pencil use. It could be one of those weird things where it's like, of course this works better on an iPad, but now just because why not, because we can, the Apple Pencil will also work on the phone, but it's not really meant for prolonged use. Whereas I don't really see the point in that. I would honestly rather see the Apple Pencil support the cheaper iPad than see it support the iPhone, because I would never use it, and there's nothing really I can draw very well on a screen this small. And again, no point in taking notes. But the 2017 iPad, really affordable, but because of its inferior tech, does not have Apple Pencil support, which I think is a little confusing for people. The fact that Apple makes a stylus, but it doesn't work with all the iPads they sold this year, that's a little confusing, and I'd like to see them top that first. Or, one idea I saw pitched, the new Magic Trackpads on the new MacBook Pros, incredibly large, incredibly capable. Why not let that be a drawing pad for people who like to draw in Photoshop or Adobe Sketch on a desktop? A lot of concept artists out there have to plug in tablets into their computers and use special pens for them. Apple, you make a very large trackpad on your MacBook Pros, you make a really capable Apple Pencil, allow them to work together. I all the time kind of play around with that idea, having my MacBook Pro out, and when I'm using my Apple Pencil, I start doodling on the trackpad, and I'm like, wow, this is a perfect size. This would be really effective if we had that option. I would love to see Apple bring Apple Pencil support to more things, just not the iPhone. Are you kidding me? Like, what's next? Does it need a stylus for your watch? This is getting weird. I don't like it. So of course, let me know your thoughts and probably something I missed about adding Apple Pencil support to the iPhone in the comments below. Maybe just for the sake of having continuity on all your different products, I don't know. But I'm really excited to see what kind of civil debate we're gonna be having down there. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.